Hello, America, and welcome back to another episode of To Hear Me Tell It, the life and times of Jerry Daniels. When you've had your daily dose of today's craziness, dealing with all them Karens out there, ride shotgun with old JD as he goes back and recounts the life and times of growing up in the South during the 60s and 70s. I believe we were called baby boomers. Stories that you will say, yep, I done that, but I ain't gonna tell my kids, and I ain't never told my spouse. But whatever the truth be, it will be this, to hear me tell it. Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to another episode of To Hear Me Tell It. Today is, what is today? Today is the 25th of June, 25 June. I got a burp coming, it's right there. You ever have that? You got that bubble right there, I feel it. Anyway. We'll get rid of it in a minute. But today is the 25th of June, the year of our Lord, 2025. Boy, I never thought I would, well, I never even thought about it. But anyway, had I thought about it, I would have never thought about saying, dang, man, actually, I'll utter the words, it is the year 2025. Can y'all believe that? Pretty soon, we're going to be going, it's the year 2030. Golly, Pete, man. I wrote an article years ago. It was published in Taylor County newspaper. It was called something about the hands of time. I forgot the damn title to it. If only the hands of time were the hands of times are stronger than mine, meaning I can't stop time. Anyway, okay. Couple of things. It's hot. Good Lord of mercy, it's hot. Man. I guess when you say it that way, the Lord of mercy, because our God is the Lord of mercy. I guess maybe that's not using the Lord name in vain. But good Lord of mercy. It's hot. I said yesterday in a YouTube video, or day before yesterday, it's hot as blazing jimmies. And that's what I said on the radio one day. I'm repeating myself, and I'll just go back to another story. But I had a podcast where I talked about being on Iraqi ships in the Persian Gulf. This is when I was stationed on the destroyer, the USS Mitchell. And I was on board leading a team, and we were basically detaining some criminals on a Iraqi ship in the middle of the Persian Gulf, a place called Comiskey. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I thought I knew what hot was, but the captain called me on the radio and said something, and I said, it's hot. And we're talking, I was leading a team on a Russian ship, not a Russian, yeah, the ship was made in Russia. It's made in Tula. But this ship was a piece of crap. It was called the Qad Jihad is the name of the ship. Some bitch was built in the early 60s. Asbestos hanging off pipes like Florida moss. And it didn't have no damn air conditioning. I don't think the ship was never built with air conditioning. And it was hot, y'all. It was hot. And you're not even moving. So you don't get, unless there's a breeze out there on the Gulf, you don't get anything. It's just freaking hot. It is the hottest I've ever been in my entire life. And I've been in Arizona in the middle of the summer. That's a different hot. But I'm telling you right now, being on a raggedy ass piece of, excuse my language, shit ship stinks to a smell that you can't fathom. And the living conditions for those people on that ship were deplorable. And there was Iraqis, Iranians, Albanians. A lot of Indians were like, slaves. They were deckhands. And jaundice. All of the Indians had jaundice. They all had hepatitis. And, man, the stench and the smell. So adding all that stuff to include all the frickin' rats and cockroaches, me and my team having to live on this damn ship in spouts of 24, 34, 48 hours. And then we'd rotate crews and get the hell off there. But the captain called over and we were talking, and I said, it's hot. And he said, how hot is it? And I said, it's blazing Jimmy's hot. He said, how hot is that? I said, I don't know. I just made it up. Y'all, it was the most stifling hot I'd ever been in my life. And then you got all that other crap. You can see it, but you got the stuff going up in your nose, and you're thinking, I don't see how people live like that. Anyway. Okay. Let me say, I want to start by saying thanks to all those who do listen. And y'all all know that now I'm still on podcasts. I'm still on Spotify. But I've upped my game because my wife said I needed to, and now I'm on YouTube. So there is a YouTube channel called To Hear Me Tell It. And I'm going to be honest, I've already been honest with y'all. It's a lot of damn work. Me sitting here doing all this right here is nothing. 20, 30, 40 minutes, whatever it is. Well, it's 2 more hours of getting it all put together. So anyway, I know y'all going, oh, Jerry's crying. Yeah, I am. All right. Okay. Poor pitiful me. Yep. I want to start by, again, saying thanks to those who do listen. Please share it and let other folks know about it. And also, I shouldn't do that. I know. I say I'm a rookie. Watch this. Yeah, I'm tapping my pen. Somebody that's professional will go, never do that. Like the other day, I went like this. Don't do that. I was like, okay. All right. I want to start by reminding everybody, please lift up Mike Posey in your prayers. Mike had a setback this week, and he's had another stroke, and he's back at Grady. And the doctor, his brother Joey, called me and gave me basically an update, and which I'm very appreciative. And I told his wife Darlene, this hurts me, and I mean that because Mike's a good man and he's a friend. The fact that I grew up and raised in Taylor County and left home when I was 18, enlisted in the Navy when I was 17. There are friendships that are solidified at that age. That the fact that I grew up and then I left and was gone for 26 plus years, and then when I retired from the Navy, I didn't move back to Butler. But that friendship, I guess it was just put on pause, if that can even be the case. But things like that don't go away. Mike's a good man. He's a good friend. And he remembers stuff that I don't remember. And it's hilarious. But he's had a setback. And I want to ask y'all to continue to pray for Mike and pray for the people that touch him. That God's providence be very intervening in this. And Joey told me that the doctor made a comment, and I'm not quoting him, but he said the comment, doctor made a comment, something to the lines of, and he's a brain surgeon, obviously, so they're doing an operation on Mike's brain because of the blockages, and the plaque, I guess, is moving from a stent installation or something like that. And I'm not smart enough to be, intelligent and tell you exactly what's going on. But my point is that Joey said the doctor made a comment, said, I have never been that deep into a person's brain. But they were doing what they needed to do to save Mike. And at this point, it appears to be favorable. So keep praying for Mike and his family. And again, this hurts me. It hurts me. It hurts me. The bees are doing well. We are full-fledged into what's called dearth. Y'all all heard me talk about dearth, which means there ain't no damn nectar to be found. So the bees are a little ornery because they're scavenging. And they're more stressed this time of the year because I've taken their honey. Speaking of which, I purposely, and there's a couple of Facebook videos out there about it, but I purposely timed my last late spring, very late spring, very early summer harvest, my last one. So I've done 3 harvests this year. And last year I didn't do that, I only did 2. But this year I did 3, and I knew I wasn't going to get much. I mean, I knew that. But I was strategic, and the number 2 harvest versus number 3, basing on what's really blooming and what's got all the nectar available. And it is, in my opinion, strictly an opinion, and beekeepers have got a lot of damn opinions. Let me tell you, if you want to ask us, you could ask one question to 50 beekeepers, and you're going to get 50 damn different answers. And then you could take honey and let 10 very seasoned beekeepers, let them taste that honey. You'll get 10 damn different answers as to what kind of honey it is. Oh, that's sourwood. Oh, that's wildflower. That's clover. That's sumac. That's, whatever. Blackberry, blueberry, whatever. So I am in the opinion that this harvest that I did Sunday is blackberry honey. And it's dark. It's good. Golly, Pete, is it good. But I didn't get that much. It's, maybe 2 gallons, maybe, I don't know. But it, in my opinion, it's rare. And I did it strategically, which was a lot more work on my part because I had to do something, then I had to do something, then reconfigure all this stuff, rob this, put this back in there, time it right, and then get it before they got it. So the bees they're ornery, they're ill. I have been stung more than 30 times in the last 2 weeks. And yeah, and I say I get stung on harvesting. I get stung on working the hives. I get stung on feeding them. I get stung on cleaning up. And I got my last 2 stings the other day. I was just trying to clean up and with the water hose. And if you ever want to clean honey off anything, do it with cold water and just rub it, and it'll get real hard and it just flakes off. And it doesn't have the bacteria in it, so you ain't got to worry about that. And all my stuff my extractor and all that stuff's all stainless steel. But I was outside cleaning up everything that the honeybees haven't scavenged everything off of, and they still smell the honey. They smell the residual. So you're out there trying to clean stuff, and there's bees everywhere. And they're really not in the fighting mode. They're just trying to get something to eat. But again, if you hit one of them or whatever. And I got the water hose, and there's a bunch of damn bees laying on the ground. They're on the driveway, and they're everywhere. And I stepped on one barefooted, and that didn't go well. So I got stung because I stepped on one of them, and then I got stung on the arm. So that was like number 32 or 33 bee stings in the last whatever. But they're doing good. I now have 6 active hives. I did go over. I told y'all I had moved a swarm box, and I went and got it, and I moved it back in the wee hours of the morning, like at 5:30 in the morning. And they're there, and they're producing. I had to go feed them right away because they don't have nothing to eat. And then another one of the hives, I took everything they got. They don't have anything to eat. So 2 of the 4 under what's called an active feeding program. And then either this weekend or early next week, I'll go in and I'll put in all the feeders because they're not going to have anything. I did leave them something, but I ain't leaving them much. So anyway, all right. The chickens are being the chickens. This is so cool. And I love learning stuff, so I'm learning all about chickens, which I know absolutely almost nothing. But the chickens are definitely being chickens, and I'm learning everything the hard way. School of Hard Knocks experience. So I've learned that the chickens, now y'all keep in mind, I got 9 chickens. That Monday, the 30th of June, those girls will be 16 weeks old. And one is confirmed a rooster. His name is Jasper. So 9 of them are 16 weeks old, and then I've got 6 more that come yesterday. Six of them yesterday were 10 weeks old. So basically there's roughly about 5.5, 6 weeks between them. But if I've learned that and they have the run, which is where the pen area is, and then they have the coop, which is where they go roost at night. And I built my coop from ground up. Laura got out there and helped me, and she helped me a lot. And I couldn't have done it without her. But we built the coop. Did it run up a little bit of this right here? Damn right. But it is foolproof. It's a fort. It's the Alamo. And I am convinced that the average raccoon ain't going to be able to get in there. And a snake can get in there if he's a little bitty snake. So the chickens have taught me a lot about chickenisms. I don't know if that's such a word. I just made it up. Chickenisms. So they all have unique personalities. Doris is my barred rock, and she just loves me to the point where it's a damn distraction to go into the run because Doris wants attention. And if I bend down, I can't bend down longer than 2 seconds. And Doris is on my back, on my shoulder, and then she'll crawl up here and get right on top of my damn head because I don't know, she likes that. But anyway, all that said and done, I've learned that this whole the challenge is to get them to go to bed at the right time at night. So I've got a timer. I got a light on a timer in the coop. So as it is sundown, sunset is approaching, it starts getting, light or darker. Not dark, but anyway, it's dusk. So as dusk approached, a light comes on in the coop. And I was under the impression that would motivate them to go their ass in there. So, but I had the light stay on too long. So it got show enough dark, but it's real light in the coop. And then what happens is when the 9 older girls get in there with the 6 younger girls, the fact that they can see each other, because chickens ain't got shit for night sight. So the fact that the light's on in the coop and they're all in there, it just really exaggerates the squabbling and the bickering and the fighting over who gets where. And then the big girls will get on the new roosting beam that I made for the little girls. And so I just said, you know what? I'm done with that. So I reset the timer so the light comes on a little bit earlier, but it goes off a lot earlier. So the sun really is getting into dusk, but it's dark inside the coop. And now when they go in there, they can't see as well. So there's less fighting because they can't see who's getting the good spot, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know. Y'all, I'm really struggling not to look there, but to look up here, right there. It's a challenge. They need to make something that's got the damn camera right there in the middle so I can look at me, but I can see you, vice versa. Anyway, Laura says I'm doing better. I don't know. So, but it's hard. It's hard not to look at my damn self and to look up there. All right, so that's enough about the chickens. But I do want to say, because I said earlier, as hot as blazing Jimmy's, the chickens are hot and the bees are hot. So next week when I go into the frame, I go into the hives, I'll install like a little jig, and basically it is the size of the frame boxes, but it's only about 3 inches high, and it has nothing inside of it. It's just a spacer, and I'll put that spacer in the top of all my hives, and then it's got 4 sides. So on each side of this spacer is 2 little screens. And what it does is it allows the heat to escape, and it basically gives the bees better capability to regulate the temperature. Because when it's hot like this, especially in the evenings and at night, a lot of the bees don't go in the hive. So somebody may think you're not serious. Yeah, I'll take a picture and show it to you. But when it's really, really hot like this, when it gets too damn hot, a number of the bees have to go outside because they generate heat. So a lot of them go outside, and it's called bearding, and they'll camp out outside, especially at night, because all the forager bees are coming back. So when you got 20,000 bees out of 60,000, and their job is to go get stuff, they come home, they're like, it's hot in here, boys or gals. Y'all got to go sit outside tonight because it's just damn too hot. So they'll do that. And then they'll have a number of bees that'll sit at the front door, and they'll fan their wings, and they'll try to create a draft to go into the front of the hive, and then they want it to go out at the top because heat rises. So I'll put the spacer in there, and I'll give them a chance for it to cool off. So anyway, all right. Who would have thunk it? All right. So I'm already at 17 minutes, and I really got to work harder at getting these down to less than 30 minutes. So I'm going to try to do that. So I'm going to hit on a couple of bullet points here. We all know that yesterday, and let me bring up Fox News over here on the other computer, but President Trump went to the Netherlands to a NATO conference summit type thing, and I'm going to have to find it here. Bear with me. I'll look at my other screen here. But, yeah, President Trump went over there, and he took off, went over there, and he's pretty upset about how quickly both the Iranians and both the Israelis jumped off that ceasefire. I get it, man. I get it. We don't live in a perfect world, and who knows about the communication of the Iranians? Doesn't matter. But I do not blame the Israelis at all. I don't blame them at all. They're in the mode of survival, Jack. But President Trump dropped an F-bomb on TV, and I just... we ain't in the locker room, buddy. And I know in the locker room you can say, I'd grab that, whatever. I'm okay with that. I don't care. And you can say F words all day long, but you're the president. Please don't do that. All right. I'm not supporting you. I'm just saying, I'm just giving you some good old man-to-man advice. Don't do that. Don't, you lowered yourself. Don't do that. So, anyway, so Trump, he said the headline at Fox News says, Trump stuns NATO with extraordinary Iran peace victory as allies adopt new spending. So I'm not really, I didn't read all of that, but what I will tell you is I noticed that in the picture of Trump there with all these folks at this NATO conference, well, lo and behold, guess who's in the crowd? That little old damn dipwad Zelensky, from Ukraine is there. And amazing enough, old boy found a suit. So he can do all this shit he wants to do. He can go to the White House and he can't gussy up and put on a damn suit. But when he goes to NATO, which he ain't a damn member of NATO, so I'd like to know who sent him the invite. But he's there at the NATO leadership conference, and he's there. What's he there for? He's begging for damn money. He's a con artist. He was a freaking actor, a performer, a comedian, whatever, dancer. I think he squares a $3 bill myself. That's just me. I don't care, but that's just what I think. He can do whatever he wants to do. But he's there begging for money. Anyway, but my point of the whole me bringing him up is his little old nappy head can show up and he's wearing a damn suit, but he can't bring a suit to the White House. Go figure. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that little Nimrod. I probably said too much. All right. So I got to thinking about, and y'all have heard me say this before, we should listen to what we don't hear and we look for what we're not seeing. So what are we not hearing today? Well, we're not hearing much anymore about the Minnesota lawmakers that was dadgum murdered in their homes and shot and whatnot. So I did a little research, and for what it's worth, and I went and I stumbled on an article. And this was an article, bear with me here. This was an article that says, and it was, and this is amazing to find the propaganda that's on the internet. Amazing. So bear with me here. So this is an article that I found in a publication called the South Dakota Searchlight. Y'all can Google it. The South Dakota Searchlight. And it's got a little thing above it that says government. So this is in the government, and it's got basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 6 tabs that you can click on. Government, environmental, economy, health, justice, and education. So under the government section, here's this article. Minnesota assassination prompts many lawmakers to wonder, is service worth the danger? I agree with that. I think that's a worthy question. You know, is the violence, the rhetoric, is the violence and the rhetoric has it risen to the level where many of those people who would say, yeah, I'd like to serve, they're going, I don't think it's worth it. I think we're there. Unfortunately, and deeply saddened, I think we're there. The same thing is for law enforcement. You know, there's a lot of folks that are asking the question, do I really want to do that? Is it going to be worth it? And I got to thinking, about these third world countries and how they became third world countries. And I just focused on Central and South America, for instance, Mexico, San Salvador, El Salvador, Honduras. You go on down the list, all the way into South America. But those third world countries, we read and we know the vast majority of those politicians are corrupt. Why are they corrupt? Because that's how they have to survive in that climate, because the moral decay of their society is dropped or has digressed to the level where there is no ethics. There's no morality. It is pure 100% evil corruption. So the only people they can get into office are corrupt criminals. And we've seen all these different movies on TV. Granted, it's Hollywood. But the only politicians that get into office are the ones that are willing to be bribed and take it. Because they have to survive. And if they go, well, I want out, well, they'll be killed. And then the ones that are just like, I just want to be a good person and mind my own business, they would never get into politics. So who are the people that do get in politics? The frickin' absolute idiot whack jobs who have no problem with jumping right into the corrupt train and go, I'll do it. And then what we have is the likes of AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Sheila Jackson and Hank Johnson and Raphael Warnock and the list goes on. And they're all not black, so don't think that he's just listening. No, they're corrupt. They're corrupt. And we just saw the 4 people who pleaded guilty to that big USAID bribery scheme. Yeah. The sum of I think it was $66 million Is that right? Maybe no, that was something else. Oh, that was the welfare fraud thing. No, these guys took like $155 million in bribes. Yeah. All right. So here's I'm squirreled. I'm already at 24 minutes. So the Minnesota assassination prompts many lawmakers to wonder, is the service worth it? And get this. This is right under the headline. Nearly 9 in 10 state lawmakers reported facing insults and 4 of 10 facing harassment threats. Yeah, well, okay. And this is nothing new. Read your history. It says, this is how it starts off. A year into her first term in office, New Jersey Assemblywoman, why can't they just say Assemblyman? We got it. Woke. I'm not going to say Assemblywoman because I think it's woke. It's like pronouns. So in a year into her first term in office, New Jersey Assemblyman Sadaf Jaffer decided not to run for re-election. The politician world saw her as a rising star. I don't know who the political world. The political world saw her as a rising star in 2023. I don't know what political world this is. Jaffer, a Democrat, previously served as the nation's, got to be the first something, she previously served as the nation's first female Muslim mayor. Well, whoopity-doo. But rampant harassment from online commenters and other politicians about her religion, as well as high-profile acts of violence against other public officials, made her reconsider her political future. This is a quote from her. I was concerned about my family, she said in an interview. They didn't sign up for this. I didn't want to put them in harm's way. That reminds me of that idiot that won Congress, the one that loves Palestinians and she loves Palestine and she hates America, whatever her name is, and when she was doing her acceptance speech, she had her little child with her, and she gets on the stage and she's found out that she's managed to win. And forgive my language, but her rhetoric is that she has to shout, fuck Donald Trump. Seriously? Yeah. And when she says they didn't sign up for, I asked that little boy on the stage, that child that was with her that night, her child, did he sign up for that? Just watch mama stand on the stage and say, fuck Donald Trump? You're a good example of a mother. Woo-hoo. All right. And then it goes on to say, in the wake of the assassination of the Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, as well as the wounding of the other 2 folks, John Hoffman and his wife, more public officials across the country are taking stock in their safety. Some say death threats have become part of the job. And it goes on, it talks about somebody else, a Michigan Democratic State Representative, Lori Puhutsky, whatever, has faced multiple life threats or whatever, death threats since 2020. I have certainly considered frequently about that I might be killed doing this job. And they go on and they say, let me see, where's it at? Death, growing threats in recent years. They talk about women have the higher death threats than men. I don't believe that. I don't. Language matters. Yeah, it does. Leaders say that rhetoric characterizing opponents as evil made violent incidents more likely. Well, I would just simply say the vast majority, who is that coming from? It's simple. The radical Democrats. That's where that's coming from. And then it goes on, and it talks about all this kind of stuff, but it talks about security measures, and then they talk about how they think that all the states and for all politicians, they should basically intellectually and academically mask them, that their addresses and their phone numbers, none of that stuff should ever be available to anybody. So if you get elected as a politician, then all of your private data is stripped from anything and everything, and basically you can live in secrecy, and then you'll have security. And I got to thinking, well, these are the same lawmakers, and or I shouldn't say lawmakers, these are the same liberals who want to unmask the police officers and law enforcement doing their job, but they want to mask the politicians so nobody can know who they are. or they know who they are, but they don't want to know where they live. But so I guess next will be coming. You can't take pictures of them. Who knows? I don't know. But here's what I found really interesting. So I told y'all I stumbled on this article, and it was from the South Dakota Searchlight. But what I found was interesting is I got all the way to the bottom, and it says this story was originally published by State Line. Like South Dakota Searchlight, it's part of State's Newsroom, a non-profit news network supported by grants and a coalition of donors, a 501c3 public charity. In other words, it's propaganda. So I went to State Line, and sure enough, this is parts of their newsroom. And they got amazing. State Line has the same freaking tabs as the whatever that other thing was, the Minnesota, whatever it was. I'll go back to it. Let me jump back over to it. Not like I want to remember who these turds are. South Dakota Searchlight. So, and they said that was originally published in, so the South Dakota Searchlight, which is propaganda, all you got to do is go read it. Read everything on there. It's just propaganda. It's leftist, socialist, communist propaganda. So the South Dakota Searchlight says that they got this article off State Line. Well, State Line is parts of the state's newsroom. I like how they say that. It's got the same damn thing. Healthcare, democracy, education, environmental, health, and society, blah, 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 blah. They don't have government on there. So here's some headlines in there. Former governors say bipartisan unity key to rebuffing questionable federal policy. Propaganda. U.S. Senate MAGA bill drops requirement states to pay for SNAP programs. Fear-mongering. Propaganda. Federal appellate court rejects Louisiana 10 Commandments display law. Propaganda. Minnesota assassination prompts many to worry. Propaganda. GOP senators, get this, GOP senators warn mega bill's new Medicare cuts will hurt rural hospitals. That's a lie. They didn't say that. That's a lie. Here's another one. U.S. Supreme Court upholds Tennessee prohibition on gender-affirming care for minors. Propaganda. Going on down, let me see. Housing advocates. What does that mean? That means people that are all advocating free shit to people that don't do anything. Housing advocates worry states can't fill rental aid gaps if the Trump's cuts go through. Fear-mongering. Propaganda. And let me see. I love this one. And this is just an outright lie. But people who read this crap, they drink this socialist communism Kool-Aid, they're doomed. This is a headline. Guns kill more U.S. children than other causes, but state policies can help, the study finds. Guns kill more U.S. children than other causes. That is an outright lie. A lie. So anyway, all right. So that's where this South Dakota Searchlight comes from. That other left-leaning whatever. Not even left-leaning. They ain't left-leaning. They're left. They're about as far left as you can go get. So anyway, I'll get rid of that. So when I read that article about that woman who says she was assemblyman from New Jersey, and she's like, I'm afraid, my children and I didn't sign up for this. So I thought, I can't pronounce her name, Sadaf Jaffer. And I went and thought, well, I'll go read about her. And I went and read about her. And you know what? She's a freaking communist. She's a socialist. She's from India. She's a Muslim. And no wonder she's damn worried about it. Because get this. She couldn't do and say the things she wants to say here in the country she came from. Why? Gosh, imagine that. It'd probably kill her. So you think, and now we have digressed because now it's become so corrupt here that we're starting to look like these other freaking third world countries. Yeah, just go read all the stuff that she believes in and all her studies. She's listed as an American academic and politician who represented the 16th Legislative District in Jersey. And then if you go read about all the stuff she's done, she's a communist, man. She's a communist, and I guarantee you she hates this country. She hates America with a passion. Yep. But boy, she's grinning like a possum chewing on pliers because she loves living in the country of U.S. But you know what? What happened? She brought the crap that she ran from here. She brought the crap that she ran from here, and now she's concerned about her safety. Well, you brought the disease with you, idiot. All right. So also, reading about the Minnesota lawmakers that were assassinated, I got to wondering because this story went away so fast. All of a sudden, I'm like, well, they caught the guy, and he had a hit list. So who was on this hit list that he had? So he had a hit list. And oddly enough, a name that I read on the hit list was one that I recognized, Debbie Dingell. I just recognized her name. Now, I do recognize Rashida Tlaib. That's that other whack job that she's the idiot that again, she brings the ideas and the philosophies from the shithole country she comes from to America, and then they're surprised why things get bad. Well, because you brought the disease, the social disease with you. All right, so I don't recognize the rest of these names, but I did recognize her name. So I went and looked, and yeah, she was on that hit list. And I don't know nothing about the woman. I don't know nothing about a woman. So I did some looking. I thought, why is she on there? Then her picture popped up, and I thought, oh, I recognize her. I've seen her on TV. So, but Deborah Ann Dingell. Yep. Born November of 1953. 1953. Y'all think about that for a minute. Born in November of 1953. She's an American politician serving as a U.S. representative from where? The great state of Michigan. And we all know what Michigan's been taken over by. And she's been serving since 2015 and represents the state's 6th congressional district since 2023. A member of the Democratic Party, she succeeded her late husband, John Dingell. Go read about this old boy, who was the longest serving member of Congress in U.S. history. The longest serving congressman in U.S. history was John Dingell. Says she worked as a consultant. Get this now. This is one of those folks, as a friend of mine, a great friend who retired as an admiral, would say she was born on third base and she thinks she hit a triple. She worked as a consultant to the American Automobile Policy Council. She was a superdelegate for the 2012 Democratic National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yep, I'm going to keep reading about old Deborah. She descended from Howard. She descended from Howard Fisher of the Fisher brothers, owners of Fisher Body. Go find out how that all got formulated. From the 1919, y'all. She's a descendant from Howard Fisher of the Fisher brothers from the 1919 part of the General Motors. She served as the president of the General Motors Foundation and as executive director of the Global Community Relations and Government Relations at General Motors. In other words, she ain't never hit a lick in her life. She went to school, got some degrees, and then Daddy propped her up and then put her in the boardroom, and all of a sudden she's Miss Smarty Pants and she knows everything. She ain't nothing but a greedy tycoon lobbyist. That's how she got started. Yep, that's how she got started. So I thought it was interesting, and I'm gonna wrap up here. But so she was on the list. I don't know why she was on the list, and I don't know nothing about that whack job that killed those people. But I do know that he was vetted and he was appointed by Tim. What's his Tampon Tim? Whatever that guy is name. Imagine that. He's from Minnesota. Wow. Imagine that. But old Debbie now, get this right now. So she succeeds her husband. And he was the longest serving member. Huh. And then he dies and she's right in there. Gets like 77% of the votes. I told you she was born in 1953. She got married in 1981. She married this old boy in 1981. She was 28 years when she got married. And she ain't hurting for nothing for money and finances. She's a lobbyist. She's got all these board positions because Daddy and her family propped her up. She's 28 years old and she's a lobbyist. And you go look and see what her husband, before he married her, what all the things he had his hands in as a politician into the automobile industry and decisions. She's 28 years old and she marries a 54-year-old man. It's 26 years between them. He died in 2000, I think, 19. That boy was 90-something years old. So he's 90-something years old, and she's in her 70s, and he passes away. And she was on that dude's hit list. Yeah. Politics stinks. It stinks. I don't know what, I'm gonna be somewhat prophetic. I don't know what the future of our country holds. I know what the future of all Christians is, but I don't know what the future of this country holds. Because it has, and I'll admit, it has come to the point where a lot of good people who would be good, loyal, honest, high integrity, good moral base, servants to serve what's in the best interest of this nation and our communities, I think they're less apt to go, I'll serve, because of all of this violence and all this rhetoric. And it's and I don't know what the answer is, but I know where it came from. And even a fine example, I think the New York City mayor election thing went down last night, and Cuomo, who I didn't think needed to be in there anyway, is it Cuomo? Yeah, whatever his name is. Yeah, the guy that's already been there once. He didn't make it, but yet they elected some third world nation socialist who, you know, and I know is going to be corrupt. It's part of their culture. And then everything gets corrupt. You know, once somebody got stink on their hands and they start rubbing stink on other people, and they notice that those people don't mind the stink being rubbed off on them, as long as you can feed them some candy and some giblets, then it just becomes, it becomes bad. Bad. Look at Detroit, look at Chicago, look at Los Angeles, look at Atlanta, look at New York City. The list goes on. Philadelphia, Seattle, Washington. It goes on. So I don't know what the nation of the future of our nation holds, but I know that Donald Trump is, and he's got the right people, and we got to clean this crap out. And to call a spade, and to start ripping snakes out of holes doesn't mean you're an anti-anything. It doesn't mean you're a socialist. It doesn't mean any of that. I mean not a socialist. What's the word? A racist. It doesn't mean any of that. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. So my hat's off to the people that are willing to stand up and take the fight and go do it, because we need good servants. We got enough corrupt politicians. We need good servants. That's what we need. We need them bad. All right, that's all I got, folks. Stay cool as you possibly can. And I love y'all. God bless America. Mike Coker, you're out there somewhere, brother. I know you're listening. And I don't know how hot it is where you are today, but if you're out there golfing today, get started early and get done early. And y'all be safe. Bicycle.